Jeanius Parenting, Virtual Learning, the New Normal, Tips and Tricks for Parenting and Management. Powered by Jeanius Consulting, which provides educational products and services to nourish the mind. Let's meet our trainers. Matthew Jean, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and Elisa Jean, an instructional therapist, are a married team who combines their talents in this one-of-a-kind training. They have 4 beautiful daughters together and feel honored to share what they have learned to help their kids reach success for the beginning of the school year. And now we will hear from Matthew and Elisa in Jeanius Parenting, a virtual workshop.
So with that said, let's do some reflection. Where are we right now, man? The past couple of months have been a movie. It's been a lot of highs and lows. I can remember February where we were doing something else and we said that we were hoping that what we were going through was only going to be a couple of days. Days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, and here we are still in the middle of a pandemic. And a lot has gone on from the beginning, late February, to where we are right now, mid-August. A lot of emotional highs and lows for a lot of us, with the ending of school being
virtual.
Starting school being in school versus school turning into virtual school, and then having a lot of unrest, civil unrest all throughout the United States, and how that impacts us. So a lot of emotions involved and what we've been going through. So we have to put that in context to how we're going to start something and we didn't end in a way that made sense for us mentally and emotionally. So to now having to press reset, you really have to press a reset that's meaningful, not just for the kids, but for yourselves as parents, as educators, as whomever. It's really, really important to consider the context and where we are, and make sure that you shape the next upcoming weeks in that frame of mind, making sure you address your own mental and emotional state before we pour into the kids that we're serving, our kids that we have. And so
we wanted to start off. Now that we've had a chance to just kind of like reflect and debrief, and even if you didn't get a chance to do it, make sure you sit down if you have a spouse or anyone else, that you can talk about your experience together, because that is going to, the information that you get from those sessions, the reflection sessions, are really where you're going to find all your answers. So we're going to provide tips and tricks, but the conversation happening between you, your spouse, whoever you're sharing this load with, is going to be very, very important. Okay?
Thinking about where we were emotionally and mentally, we spoke about that, but you have to consider that before we get started again. So think about where your emotions were when we first had to transition to virtual school, and where you are right now, and then think about what is the desire? What type of emotions do you want to evoke going into next week or going into whenever school starts for you?
We even did with music, and we have an article inside of our handout that talks about this, but music is going to be very, very key to helping to change the mood sometimes in our home. So we think about songs that talk about blessings and happiness and things. I wanted to talk about what teachers do. So because we as parents are assuming a new role, a role that we were kind of thrust into at the end of last year, and now we know it. It's not a surprise anymore. We know it's going to start. So now that we have it, I'm going to tell you 2 things that educators do. Okay, 2 things that educators do and need.
So we do have the tip and trick section that you can add something in there, like when you hear something from someone else that you think is really interesting that you want to keep for yourself. Here's a tip that I think is really important when it comes. If you can anticipate the kids' level of attention span, then you can even pre-schedule those breaks for them. And the break doesn't necessarily have to be anything that's drastic. It's usually a plus or minus of 1 or 2 things, and that's for yourselves as well. You could add 1 or 2 things to any occasion to enhance it or to level out the emotions in the room if you know who you're serving, whether you're serving yourself, your significant other, or your kids. Understand it's only a combination of one or two things that you can add to the room or to the equation, or removing one or two things that's going to help change and reset the mind and the emotional state as well. Because they're at home, there's no principal, there's no assistant principal, there's no one to really deal with it. And so what you have to create, if you have not created it already, is a specific identity for how they handle conflict, right? The question is, who are we and how do we speak to each other? How do we relate to each other? And how do we associate with each other? How do we resolve conflict with each other? That identity is something that's really, really important. My wife and I have started this maybe, I don't know, maybe
3 years ago,
maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And they see us practice it. So it's something that we practice because we're not free from conflict either. So, you know, so when we have our conflict, our kids can actually see how we resolve the conflict. For example, here's a gift that we gave, and I call it a gift because it's something that I never received when I was younger, and I wish I were to have received it from my parents. You know, the gift that we gave one of our daughters is that we affirmed the fact that she didn't like to read and she did not like to write. We told her we understood that that's not what she liked to do, you know, and she cried and because she felt heard, and she gave us so much problems from before when we didn't affirm the fact that that was not her interest. My daughter would prefer jumping around, doing backflips, cartwheels, drawing, anything but reading and writing, you know? And so affirming that already allows that person to feel heard and validated exactly where they are.
To go back, to add to it, because it's always going to go back to the identity piece for us. So you were talking about math. I would show her any of the mathematicians who are Black, and there's a couple of them. There's not a couple, there's so many. So sometimes it's about seeing other people who look like them who were successful in doing that thing. So if math is the thing that she does not like to do, then show her about Jeanius, you know, or about Hidden Figures, you know. You show her pictures, put those pictures on the wall to say, oh, this is a mathematician, and this is another mathematician, and this is all these female mathematicians, and they went to space, and they did this, and they did that. So when they see ancestors, when they see people who were there before them, people that look like them who were successful in the thing that they're struggling with, or family members that may be doing that thing, it might help in solidifying that you have it in you.
You know, that messaging to ourselves is really important too, you know. So the same way we send messages to our kids, we have to make sure that we're sending ourselves those same messages that, hey, listen, this is new for all of us. Mom and dad are gonna make mistakes. We're gonna fall short every now and then, and be okay with that. You know, we're not looking to get this thing perfect. We're just making sure that as we go into this, our anxiety levels are low so that we can perform better. You know, your anxiety is correlated, of course, you know this, Tasha, to your IQ and what you put out, you know? And so less anxiety, kids can't learn under stress. So if you're stressed out, you know, so making sure you give yourself that grace. All right, guys, we're gonna play you guys out. You know, we're gonna play you guys out. And then this last song is the same thing. It's about joy. It's about blessings. It's about making sure that you're in a good state of mind going forward.